Every time you get a chance to witness this scene, you feel lucky. Nothing like it.
Man, this is what it's all about. This is what college football is all about. I've said this is the best scene in the country.
I love and appreciate you guys. Understand this. We didn't get here without every single person in this room. We got here together. Let's finish this thing together. Everybody got me? Let's go do this thing.
Welcome back to Whiteout Weekly on a fourth straight glorious victory week with a win over Villanova, 38-17. We now, Penn State, move up to number four in the AP poll, leapfrogging Iowa and OU, who had down weekends against inferior competition. However, we did not cover the spread. Got a little chirp on Twitter after saying that Penn State would win by 40 points. So I think we officially have our first hater, which means we're doing something right. But they did score, Villanova did score 2 touchdowns in the fourth. So bravo for the backdoor cover, but we dominated all game, including the man we talk about every single week behind center, Sean Clifford, who was the co-offensive player of the week in the Big Ten, after throwing for 401 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Davey, how about that performance?
Yeah, this final score shows it wasn't, really doesn't tell the whole story. It was 38. They were up by 35 in the fourth.
38-3 covering.
Yeah, coaching staff did a good job throughout the game, implementing the younger guys. It wasn't really necessarily a platoon swap in the second half, so they were filtering some guys in. You saw Keziah Izzard get a sack early. Keaton Ellis in there at safety. So did a really good job of getting those guys in early. And you mentioned my guy Cliff, first Nittany Lion QB to throw for 400 yards on U.S. soil. Christian Hackenberg did it back in Ireland when we
oh my God. Yeah, I was gonna say on US soil. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
For a little tailspin there. But yeah, I think Hack threw it was about 440 yards. But Cliff first to do it here in the US. So good for our man.
There we go. We need that. Hackenberg can't have any records. I'm sorry.
No.
Get him out of the record books.
He's forgotten. He's done. But good win. You saw a lot.
Yeah.
The top 25. I saw some stat. It's the most teams that have been ranked in the top 25 to have lose in the first 4 weeks of a college football season in some time. You mentioned Oklahoma, who we leapfrogged in the polls. You had fans chanting their backup's name when
I could not believe that. Like as Philly fans as we are, like Philly fans would do that in pro sports, no doubt about it. But a college chanting against this kid's, I mean, you got to remember this kid's 20 years old. The chanting for his backup. Like, come on, dude. That is just. I look at Oklahoma fans as in a totally different light now. Like they are savage.
Yeah.
They've been spoiled for the past 5 years with their quarterbacks. Like, give the kid a fucking break. He did suck, but
yeah, looking at the landscape of things, happy to be 4-0. They went 1-0 for the week, so moving on to the Big Ten play. Got to be happy with the win.
Huge, and a lot of people are talking about now that Alabama's kind of been exposed a little bit on defense, that this is maybe the one year that this is wide open. Anyone's up for grabs. Clemson's way down. Ohio State's not where they are like normally. So this is the year that literally anyone can pop out.
Yeah. We still got to take care of what we can control. But when you look over the grand scheme of things, it's one of those weird years where, hey, it doesn't matter if you get in, you get in. So if this is the year, let's do it, baby.
That's why I love the Franklin mantra, 1-0 every week, 1-0. Some advanced stats on Clifford. On throws over 10 yards, he was 9 of 13, so 69%. Very nice. High, way above his average. 257 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. So numbers looking good, throwing the ball downfield. And again, we reiterate this pretty much every single week. As long as he's getting those comfortable throws, those wide open throws to Lambert Smith, to Parker Washington, he's going to be able to have that confidence to stick the ball downfield and throw a guy open every once in a while.
Yeah, targets to Parker and Jahan this week, 12 for 12, 265 yards and 3 touchdowns. So hitting the big play guys and hitting them successfully. So that was huge.
Yeah. And that's the main thing with him. I mean, he told Rhys Davis, I feel like the most confident quarterback in America right now. So as long as Yurchik can keep that confidence going with those easy throws, those easy reads, I have all the faith in the world in Sean Clifford right now, which I didn't think I was going to say at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely taking what we can get out of him. And again, it's just showing, shedding some light on Yurchic's offense. Again, you're going to start to get those high caliber recruits. You had Drew Aller, who's been lighting up in high school, who could be walking in the door next year, but it shows a lot of what this offense can be, and getting the most out of Clifford is just really, really showing that big time.
Yeah, that would be an absolute game changer if Penn State could consistently get those 4 or 5-star QB recruits and be just an offensive powerhouse. But
Absolutely.
Moving on quickly, past this Villanova slaughter, who is your one name all game on Saturday?
So for me, maybe he's been my guy all year long. Didn't really show up much in the box score, but I'm going to give it to Keiondre Lambert Smith, notching his first career touchdown as a Nittany Lion. Nice 83-yard screenplay. He was quoted during the spring ball heading into fall camp, where he admitted that last year he was mentally weak, constantly thinking about that pass, the last pass that he just dropped, always worrying about the last play. This is a kid who lit it up all over the field in high school. So to be able to start to get him into his own in a rhythm, and we're talking about him as a wide receiver 3, you're already getting big time production out of Parker and Jahan. Yeah. So to be able to get him going, get him confident, it's just going to open up this offense even more. So he gets my nod for this week.
Yeah. And I mean, even Dotson and Washington had huge weeks, and he still had a huge week right behind them.
Yep.
So mine, I'm going to go with one name all game. Actually, I have 3 names for the all game, which is kind of contradictory, because if you don't hear these guys' names, that means that they had a phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
So first guy up, Juice Scruggs. Since week 1, he has not allowed a single sack or single pressure in 3 straight games, along with 0 penalties. So huge. By far the best offensive lineman on our team. In that same span, Rasheed Walker, left tackle, he put up 4 pressures in those 3 games, no sacks allowed, and has averaged 1 penalty per game. Don't know why, but just doing that. Mm-hmm. And then the grad transfer, Eric Wilson, in that same span of those 3 games, only 2 pressures. He did allow a sack against Nova, but 0 penalties. So those 3 guys stepping up to the plate in pass protection, mainly, allowing Clifford to read his routes, be comfortable in the pocket, not have a barrage of defenders coming against him, read routes, simple throws, simple outs. Those guys are the main ones doing it, and you never hear about them, which is good.
Yeah, and Wilson, I don't know if you noticed this week, he was getting some snaps at center. So they don't know if they're looking to shuffle Miranda.
Miranda has been the weak link of the offensive line, if I had to say.
Yeah, so as he enter Big Ten play, I don't know if that's going to be a switch that they make, or if it's just for emergency purposes if Miranda goes down, but just something to keep an eye on. Wilson able to get it done both at left guard and at center, so that's huge.
So yeah, I think we're both on the same page here in terms of what needs to be improved. The running game still not a factor, which concerns me as we move into the colder months. Big Ten schedule, a lot of very, very, very good linebackers in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to be this air raid offense that puts up points when we have a lead, we need to be able to rely on the running game. And right now, we haven't been able to do that.
Yeah, I was reading Franklin was getting pressed about it in his post-game pressers, then also this week leading up to the Indiana game, which we'll get into, but still humming the same tune that they're going to be using that 3-back rotation.
Mm-hmm.
pressed again about the ineffectiveness of the run, saying that he wants to see a little bit more out of that offensive line with opening up some holes. The backs themselves using a little bit more bounce and running with a little bit more aggressiveness, breaking some tackles. So still more to be seen. The coaches obviously know that they need to get more out of it. When you look at Big Ten play, like you said, you're going to be facing a lot of tenacious linebackers, defensive fronts, and you think about you're in a tight game at Kinnick. I know I'm looking ahead of the Indiana game here, but in those close games in Columbus, up by 4, up by 5, 4 minutes left in the game, you got to be able to.
Yeah, you need to be able to bleed that clock.
It's gonna come back to bite them, or they're gonna continue to prove and show that they can get it done. But either way, as the schedule continues, they're gonna have to be able to run the ball and show that they can earn some yards that way.
And even looking at the stats, Noah Cain's averaging 3.4 yards per carry, which is not great. He is a hard runner. He'll get to the end zone. Anytime you need a touchdown within the 3-yard line, Noah Cain could do that for you.
Yeah, and they kept him out of that Nova game. I think he had 1 carry, 2 yards, and they yanked him. A little banged up from the previous week. So hopefully he's good to go this week, but didn't get a lot of runtime this week.
Kevon Lee averaging 5 yards a carry. And then John Lovett, who's finally getting in the mix, he's averaging 4.2 yards per carry.
Yeah, Lovett seems to be the clear-cut third back over Devin Ford. Devin Ford seems relegated to just kick returns. So liking what I'm seeing out of Lovett. So hopefully with some more game reps, he should be able to continue to shine. But as a unit, like we said, as a whole, they got to show that they can get that yardage.
Yeah, so as good as the Penn State offensive line has been against in pass protection, they've been just horrendous run blocking. Against Wisconsin and Auburn, obviously our 2 toughest opponents that we faced this year, the offensive line, according to PFF, didn't grade above a 53 in terms of run blocking. So just think of that in terms of a grade scale. 53, but in 2 games didn't get above 53. So they got to start letting bodies hit the floor and creating lanes for these backs, because it's just not working out for that offensive line in the running game at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now before we preview another primetime ABC game, we're going to go into a little trivia time. Woo! And this time, Barron is on the clock. I got a little bit of a doozy for you. It's a long one.
Hit me with it.
Following one of the most successful seasons in the past 20 years, with Michael Robinson at the helm, the 2005 Penn State team finished 3rd in the AP poll after an overtime win against Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Who was the quarterback the following season when the team dropped back to 9-4? You have a phone a friend and a hint.
All right, so 2006. So that's going to be, and don't slip like I did last week and give it to me early. It's going to be between, trying to think, it was either Daryl Clark or Anthony Morelli. I'm going to go with Anthony Morelli.
Correct. That is very exactly correct. I think he had 2 seasons before Daryl Clark filled in.
5-star recruit that never panned out.
What an Italian last name, though. Anthony Morelli.
Morelli.
But yeah, he never panned out.
Yeah, now he's done.
And it is time for another primetime ABC preview where Penn State, number 4 in the nation, takes on Indiana at home, where we will seek revenge after that just Superman dive in overtime. That when that happened, I was like, I'm done with the season. That was the first game. I was like, I'm fucking done with this. That was absurd.
I was in the fetal position on the ground in my living room.
Yeah, that was disgusting. So I'm ready for fucking revenge.
Stripe out, baby, too. Stripe out.
A little stripe out. I love how they coordinate that shit.
Yeah.
Because you would think that would be so hard to coordinate, but then you look at it on the blimp cam and it looks good. I mean, there's probably some people that fuck up, but it looks good from over top.
For the most part, yeah.
So this kid, Michael Penix Jr., absolutely destroyed us last year. I think he tore his ACL or had some kind of knee injury that knocked him out of last season, but he was having a Heisman type season. Mm-hmm. This year, not so much. Going into the game last week against Western Kentucky, he had a 48.3 completion percentage with a 4 touchdown to 6 interception ratio. And then they barely won the game against Western Kentucky, and he didn't throw for a touchdown or an interception. Furthermore, he's not accurate downfield at all against their 2 toughest opponents, Iowa and Cincinnati, on throws over 10 yards, just over 10 yards, over the first down marker. He was 9 of 36. That's 25% with 2 interceptions.
Oof.
So, and after that knee surgery, he's not really a run threat at all. So, quite frankly, I'm not afraid of Michael Penix Jr. at all.
Let him sling it, man. Let him sling it all over the field to these DBs.
All day.
Yeah, it seems that the injury really took something out of him. He just hasn't been able to get back to that same form that he was in last year. Could have been lightning in a bottle, hot COVID year, weird things happening. Don't know. I think he's a talented kid, but that injury definitely took a lot out of him. He just hasn't been able to get back to that form.
For sure. They're definitely like us. They do not find success in the run game. They have a transfer from USC, running back Stephen Carr. He's a great pass catcher, hard runner at 6'1", 215 pounds, and he'll normally split out wide for 5 wide sets sometimes because they just literally can't run the ball. So it's just Penix back there and 5 wide with some stud wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fry Fogle. He's been their top target this year, 21 catches, over 200 yards. He had a couple touchdowns, I think, last week. Veteran tight end Peyton Hendershot, too. A couple years ago, led the team in receptions, had over 50 catches. Last year, not as many targets or catches. Again, weird year, but he's a veteran presence in that tight end room that can make some big-time plays. So definitely a couple names to look out for this week.
And they did have a transfer from Florida State, DJ Matthews, who was their number two receiver next to Fry Fogle, but he tore his ACL, unfortunately, early in the Western Kentucky game. So I think we'll see a lot more of Peyton Hendershot in this one because he's down. But another thing about Indiana that I wanted to say was they have a really solid O-line. They've only allowed 5 sacks this season, and 2 were the running back Stephen Carr's fault. So really only 3 sacks on the season from the offensive line. But both came from the tackle position. So left tackle Luke Haggard has allowed 2 sacks, 2 hurries on the year. And their right tackle, Caleb Jones, has allowed 12 pressures in 4 games. 1 sack, 3 QB hits, and 8 QB pressures. So, Jesse Lukata lines up on the left side as that kind of edge outside linebacker. So I'm saying that Otto's very own over Caleb Jones, he's going to have a monster multi-sack performance against this kid.
Yeah, I could see that all day. I could already smell that. Even maybe doing a little flip and giving AK a couple runs out of him or at him rather. But
yeah,
big time. And
this kid's letting up pressures left and right.
Yeah, and even PJ over the top. He's been coming up big the last couple of weeks, showing improvement. So would love to see him continue to get in that backfield. But
so let's talk about their defense. You're going to hear this name a lot on Saturday night. Number 47, Micah McFadden. He missed the game before Western Kentucky against Cincinnati because of a targeting call. So he came back against Western Kentucky with a vengeance. He put up 8 solo tackles, 3 assists, 11 total, 1 stop, 2 QB hurries, and a sack. So just literally all over the field. Him and his running mate, number 4, Cam Jones, are the heart and soul of that defense. So if they're flying over the field, we're going to have some problems. Kind of like what's that guy's name? Sanborn from Wisconsin. Gotta take that guy out of the game. No throws over the middle like that. You got to key him when he's about to blitz because he can literally destroy a game.
Yeah, definitely got to key him, like you said, keep him at bay. Maybe if that's getting the tight ends involved a little bit to make sure you're keeping them honest, but don't want them blowing things up for us. So definitely got to keep them honest out of the gate.
And then their secondary has some tenured players. Cornerback Tywon Mullen was all Big Ten player last season, as well as safety Devin Matthews. He was also all Big Ten player. This year, Mullen's allowing only 9.1 yards per catch on 29 targets. No picks, but he does have a team high 4 pass breakups and plays both on the inside and the slot. But he, despite the accolades of being all Big Ten, he's very beatable. I was looking at the stats against Idaho in week 2, and the Vandals didn't care. They just went after him. They threw at him 13 times, and he allowed 11 catches for 91 yards, 4 first downs, and 1 touchdown. Yeah. And this kid named Hayden Haddon, sophomore for the Vandals, caught 7 passes on 8 targets for 52 yards and a touchdown against him. Ooh. Yeah. So if that kid can do it, I think Jahan Dotson's going to have a pretty solid chance of being able to beat this guy plenty of times.
I'm going to say, I think we got a couple of guys that might be a little better than that.
Exactly. And then on their other side, they're starting Rhys Taylor. He's only allowed 6 catches this year, only on 14 targets because they've just been going after Mullen, but he's giving up 20 yards per reception on those 6 that he's allowed this season. And last week, Western Kentucky, final stat, 4 receivers had over 60 receiving yards in that game. So not running the ball may not be the worst problem this week. Yeah, because we can definitely beat them through the air.
Yeah, I think you're going to continue to see those explosive plays. This past week, it was great to see right out the gate that bomb to Dotson. So I think you'll see more of that, especially at home, prime time. They'll want to get that crowd into it early. Not that they won't be already, but just right out the gates, just put them away.
Mm-hmm. And as of now, the spread for this game is Penn State minus 12.5, with the over under at 53.5. So I'm quite confident in Penn State winning this game by more than 2 touchdowns.
I am too. Spread seemed high at first, but in the fans' minds, you hear the revenge game, obviously from last year with the Penix Superman dive, whatever you want to call it, any point of that game.
I think that brings a huge factor into it.
Yeah. Hearing a lot of what Franklin was saying in his pressers was he was very disappointed with the effort that the team gave last week. So it sounded like it was going to be a really tough week of practice starting on Sunday. Usually I think they practice Sundays, give them off Mondays, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're practicing. Mm-hmm. So he was kind of going on about he wants to see more tenacity, more aggressiveness from all the position groups. So I think they're going to come out firing after a really hard week of practice, ready to go for Big Ten play. So I think they come out strong. Players' minds, they're pushing away the revenge game narrative, but either way, it's there, and I think they put them away by more than 2 scores easily.
So Penn State first half, Penn State minus 7.
Touchdown.
Could be a potential play.
I think I'd still side with the full game spread, but I do.
I think so too. I just think our wide receivers are a mismatch with one of the stronger points of their defense, which is their secondary, which honestly is not that good. Mm-hmm. So that's it for Indiana Penn State, but we will be talking about more Big Ten betting in the Week 5 edition of the Big Ten Betting Bonanza. And here we are, Week 5, Big Ten Betting Bonanza, and things have shooken up the leaderboard as Dave, the Croatian Bear, goes 3-0 last week. I went 2-1 with a foolish Western Kentucky first half bet, which I think was the only Western Kentucky bet that didn't hit that game. Just the dumbass play that I always do. He goes 3-0. I go 2-1. However, I had Notre Dame money line, which is +3. He took the spread +6.5, won. So the total right now is Dave +4, Matt +2. Both in the positives. Week 5.
Roll me up, baby.
And it's anybody's ball game at this point. Anybody's ball game. So does the undefeated man want to grace us with his first pick?
I will. I'm going to keep it rolling with the Northwestern Wildcats.
All righty. You had them last week, too.
I think Pat Fitzgerald keeps that team rolling, gets them back on track. I got them plus 11. The disrespect at Nebraska in Lincoln. I think it's going to be a slobber knocker Big Ten battle. I think the Wildcats hang in there by 10 or less. So I'm taking Northwestern.
I will tell you what. I'm taking the same pick.
Oh, all right.
I think after that, Nebraska, Michigan State overtime, that heartbreaking fucking loss.
Mm-hmm.
You would think this line set to say, hey, Nebraska's going to absolutely fucking roll this team minus 11. They're all pissed off and stuff, but they don't know Northwestern. Northwestern plays the most disciplined football under Pat Fitzgerald. They don't change every week. So plus 11.5, way too many points. Plus 11.
Mm-hmm.
Way too many points for them. I'm riding the same train as you.
All righty.
So your second pick here.
Pick number 2. I'm going to do it, Luch. I'm doing it. I'm taking Michigan money line at Wisconsin.
Oh, you're such a sucker.
I know I'm going to be singing my sorrows on next pod, but it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Wisconsin's just not a good team, and I'm rolling with the Wolverines.
They're minus, and Wisconsin's favored by it makes no
I'm taking
sense.
A stand for sketch lines. I'm done avoiding them or going the other way. It's not right. I'm taking Michigan.
The sketch lines are not right. We will not have them anymore.
I demand justice.
Like I was gonna go Wisconsin, but yeah, I'm sketch lines no more. I'm done with them.
No more.
Get them out of here. Yeah, so that was gonna be my second bet, but I switched off that. I'm sticking with the many Saints of Newark signs. I'm going with the Scarlet Knights half line.
Team of Destiny. Okay.
First half line plus 7.5 at home against Ohio State. I think Ohio State could potentially pull away in the second half. So that's why I'm taking the Rutgers faithful to make some fucking noise when the Ohio State comes to the building and that they cover the first half. I was about to take first half money line, but I don't know how we would score that.
That would have been bold.
Would that just be like 3 points, or would that be like a point and a half?
I'd give you the 3 if Rutgers is leading at half.
I'm taking 7.5. Rutgers plus 7.5. Final answer. Lock it in.
Yeah, Ohio State's used to the shoe, but they've never seen New Brunswick, baby.
No. Not the mean streets of New Brunswick. Your third bet to cap it off.
Pick number 3, staying in the state of Michigan. Go with Michigan State.
Okay.
They get their stab at the Hilltoppers this week. Sparty minus 10.5 versus the mighty Hilltoppers.
I don't know if you saw them last week, man. They were sloppy in the first half, but that second half, they certainly came back.
I don't think they could do it again against another Big Ten team. Mel Tucker's got that team rolling. I think Michigan State.
Michigan State is definitely one of the more surprising teams in the nation this year. And I'm going to go with the first ever stripe out special. I'm taking Penn State minus 12 over Indiana, 2-touchdown victory. We're going into our 5th straight victory week with a slaughtering of Indiana. I think their secondary is just too weak. We're going to pass all over them. Stadium's going to be rocking again, revenge game. Mm-hmm. There's still so many players that played in that game that have that on their mind, who are thinking Michael Penix is going in the fucking dirt tonight. They're playing at night. So Penn State all day, minus 12.
I gotta say, man, I'm surprised he didn't touch that Friday night game.
Dude, you've no long how long I looked at it. Because the part of me doesn't want Iowa to lose just because we have them next week, and I don't want them coming off a loss. The revenge factor.
I would rather they win that game.
Same with me. And my bet would have been Maryland money line. So, but
especially for us, when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, you don't know how things are going to shake out. That Wisco wins not looking as great.
Yeah.
Auburn, it almost looked like we broke Auburn if they put a loss with Georgia State.
For real.
But
I was like, was
rather,
that just a total scam win? Like, what's going on right now?
So I would rather keep the Hawkeyes undefeated going into Kentucky.
Yeah, same with me. So there it is. Week 5 bets for the Big Ten Betting Bonanza. They will be on Twitter if you want to follow us at Whiteout Weekly. And that is it for this week.
Boom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and tuning in to Whiteout Weekly. We will be back every week with more Penn State news and information. And once again, I cannot thank you enough for spending your time with us. Lucci signing out.
See you guys.